Hey traders, Gavin McMaster here from Options Trading IQ. And if you've ever had a credit spread go against you and wondered, should I roll it? Should I cut the loss? Should I stick with it? Well, today's video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know about rolling credit spreads, including when you should do it, when you shouldn't do it, and we'll go through quite a few examples as well. So let's get stuck into it. Just a quick reminder that everything discussed is for educational purposes only, is generally in nature and does not take into account your personal circumstances. So what is rolling, first of all? Rolling means closing one option spread and simultaneously opening another one. Usually that's further out in time or at different strikes. The purpose is to extend the time of the trade, adjust the strikes, give ourselves a bit more room, and or to collect more premium. So an ideal scenario when we roll is we give ourselves a bit more margin for error and we also generate a little bit of extra premium as well. When does it make sense? Well, firstly, if the short option is losing extrinsic value or time value, we need to roll to recollect some more theta. If the spread is challenged but not hopeless, for example, if the price is near support or a key moving average and we think it's going to reverse back the other way, and if the market trend or volatility supports giving the trade more time. And it can also make sense when the trade is getting close to expiration. We want to try and minimize our assignment risk. When is rolling a bad idea? Well, if it's already deep in the money, we're potentially throwing good money after bad. And I would argue that you should never let your credit spreads go in the money in the first place. But sometimes it does happen if the stock has a big gap or it has a big move on earnings. It can happen. Sometimes it's better to cut the loss in that case. If the new risk to reward doesn't justify the roll, for example, if you're trying to figure out a rolling strategy and you just can't find anything that works, again, better to cut the loss in that case. When the commission or slippage costs outweigh the benefits. And sometimes small losses are better than rolling indefinitely. That's a little bit of a mistake that some people can get into. They think they can just keep rolling, and eventually the trade's going to come back their way. Sometimes it's better to cut the loss early, move on to the next opportunity. Let's talk about how to roll. So firstly, we close the existing spread. We choose our new strikes further out of the money, or the same strikes but further out in time. Or we could do a combination. We could roll out in time and change our strikes as well. We're going to look at some examples. We want to check the risk reward profile and margin impact. And we also want to check our cash flow as well. Have we generated extra premium or is it costing us premium to make the adjustment? And finally, we then place the order in the brokerage account. So the main thing you need to decide, are you going to do it as a single order, which is perhaps a little bit more complicated because you'd have 4 legs, or are you going to do it as 2 separate orders where you buy back the existing credit spread and then once that's filled, you sell the new credit spread. All right, let's look at some examples. The first one we're going to look at is rolling out in time. So we've got an example here on Amazon. The trade's starting to come under pressure. The stock's dropped and it's getting down towards our short strike. Normally I start with the short strike at around a 15 delta and we're now hitting about a 25 delta. So for me, that's an adjustment point. Again, I don't want to let the stock price get too close to the short strike, and I definitely don't want to let it go in the money. So what we would do first thing is we would buy this back to close. That's going to cost about $80 to $90. We can see there from the profit and loss graph, it's going to be about $80 to $90 to close that one out. Then if we roll out in time, we're going to keep our strikes the same. And you can see here, we've still got the same amount of risk. We're still at the 210 strike, 210, 205, but now we're generating about $160 in premium. So on a net basis, we've generated $60 or $70 in extra premium, and we've just delayed or extended the duration of the trade. Once the trade gets down under about 21 days to expiration, and definitely around that 14 days to expiration, once we get below 14 DTE, I'm more likely to start rolling out in time because the risks get a little bit higher as you get closer to expiration. Let's look at another example of rolling out in time, this time with the call side. So we've got another one here on Apple. The stock's rallied. We've hit that 25 delta. We're going to roll out in time. We buy this back. Again, that's going to cost about $90. And then we're going to sell the same strikes, but with the November expiration. So here's our new position. We've kept the strikes the same. We've generated some extra premium by rolling out in time. For selling this November spread, we're getting about, again, $160, $170. So again, $70, $80 credit for rolling out in time. Now, the one thing that you might notice here is we've still got a very high delta. In fact, our delta is actually a lot higher than it was previously. We had the 25 delta, and now we've gone all the way up to a 39 delta, even though we've got the same distance to our strike price. Because there's more time, the delta is a lot higher. All right, the next example we're going to look at is rolling out and down, which is what we would do on a put credit spread. So rather than keeping the strikes the same, we're going to roll out to November. and we're going to lower the strikes. So we'll go back and we'll look at our existing October spread, the 210, 205 strikes, the 25 delta. What we're going to do now is we're going to buy this to close. Again, that's going to cost about $90. We're going to roll it down and out to November. So here you can see we've rolled our short strike all the way down to 200. We've given ourselves an extra $10 in margin for error. We've dropped our delta a little bit down to about a 21. And we've rolled for a slight credit. We're getting about $100 here. So not a huge credit, only about $10 or so. But we're still rolling for a credit. We've given ourselves an extra $10 margin on the downside, and we've bought ourselves a bit more time for the stock to recover. Let's now look at an example of rolling out and up. So on the call spread side, we just did the puts. Looking at Amazon, we'll go back to our Apple example, which was coming under pressure on the call side, and we'll roll the strikes out to November and up in price. Here's our initial Apple spread for October expiration. It's going to cost about $80 to buy that back. Let's see what it would look like when we roll out and up. So here we are, similar to our Amazon example. We've been able to roll our short call strike up $10. We've kept it at around a 25 delta. We've got more margin for error now to the upside. And we've done that for maybe a slight credit, about the same price. We may be getting about $95 here for this spread. So the last example we're going to look at is what I would call a structural adjustment, where we convert the trade into, say, a condor or an unbalanced condor, or we could even add a calendar spread or something like that. So let's take a look. So this time we're looking at CRM, and again, we're coming under pressure. It's actually blown out to about a 30 delta here, you can see. So the stock's been quite bearish. Our opinion on the stock has changed. We no longer want to be completely bullish. What we're going to do in this example is roll down the puts, and we're going to condorize the position. So we're going to add a bear call spread as well, which will generate a bit of extra premium and turn the trade into more of a neutral trade rather than a bullish trade. So the first step is to buy back this spread to close it out. That's going to cost us about $125. So what we've done here is we've condorized the position. We've rolled the puts down $5. We've got our short strike back down to 230. We've given ourselves a bit more margin for error on the downside. We've got that down to a 20 delta. And then we've added a 15 delta bear call spread. And that's turned the whole position into a condor, which is a little bit more neutral. Our overall delta now is only 2. Our T+0 line is pretty flat. We've received about $125 in premium for the new condor, our new position. So we've roughly got a net premium of about 0. We've received about the same amount as what it cost us to close the initial spread. And we've got a position that now more matches our market opinion of the stock, which is more neutral rather than bullish. So there's lots of different ways you can roll your credit spreads. The key is just to find the new position that has an acceptable amount of premium, whether that's a credit or even a small debit is sometimes okay. And you want to also make sure the new position matches your market opinion for the stock in terms of the delta, and also make sure your expiration graph and your T+0 line looks good relative to your market opinion as well. So let's go through a couple of risk management tips when rolling credit spreads. The first one is don't over-roll, trying to win on every trade. Sometimes it is better to just cut the loss and move on to a new opportunity. Always review the T+0 line before rolling. So make sure your new position has an acceptable T+0 line and an expiration profit graph. Be aware of assignment risk on short options near expiration. So as I said, once we're getting down to 14 DTE, we want to look at rolling out in time. We also want to make sure we're rolling before the stock gets to the short strike. We really don't want to let our credit spreads go in the money. So a lot of people are worried about assignment risk. If you stick to those two principles, roll out in time when we get to 14 DTE, and don't let the stock or the short strike go in the money, then you should be able to manage that assignment risk pretty well. So point number 4, again, repeating myself here, but it's such an important point. Never let your short strikes go in the money. Again, sometimes that can happen if we get a big gap up or down. There's not a lot you can do about that, but generally don't let the stock just continue grinding lower and eventually getting through that short strike. You've always got to take some action before that happens. And the last point is to think in terms of portfolio risk, not just the single trade. So we're rolling our credit spread and we're getting a position that matches our new market opinion, but we're thinking about the overall portfolio as well. Does this new position add value to our overall portfolio? Does it add risk? Does it reduce risk? What's our overall delta across all our positions? So sometimes we might have a lot of put credit spreads or bull put spreads that are coming under pressure. We might then roll a couple of those positions. We might look to add some bear call spreads in other underlyings as well to help even out our overall exposure. Some of the alternatives to rolling, taking the loss and redeploying capital. So something I'll do pretty regularly if I'm in a bull put spread on a stock and it's breaking lower and it's looking really not bullish at all anymore, I'll actually just close that spread and I'll move it to a different underlying that is a lot more bullish. Another thing you can do is hedge instead of roll. So we could buy an option or add an extra spread, or we could buy the underlying stock. I've got a few videos on that, but let's go and have a quick look at an example using the Apple bear call spread. So hedging is a really good alternative to rolling, particularly if you are getting close to expiration and you're really confident that the stock's not going to get above the short strike. You don't really want to roll out in time and extend the trade for another month. We can just temporarily put on a little delta hedge to help reduce some of our price risk. So for example, something I'll do, we've got a -10 delta overall on this Apple bear call spread. I might add a 50% delta hedge and buy 5 of the underlying stock. That's reduced our delta now to -5. We've cut our delta in half. We've flattened our T+0 line a little bit, and we've actually added some profit potential on the upside. We've really fixed our risk graph. We still have got slightly negative delta overall, but we've just helped manage some of our delta risk in the short term. And maybe I'll hold that hedge for 3-4 days, maybe a week, and then I'll get rid of it, particularly if Apple starts to drop back down. We can sell those shares for a small loss and hopefully ride that credit spread in closer to expiration. Another thing we can do is to scale into a new spread at better strikes. So we generally don't want to add to losing trades, but a lot of times if I've got high conviction on a stock like an Amazon, I might roll that put spread down and maybe go to 2 contracts rather than 1 contract. Or if I'm trading, say 10 contracts, I might go to 15 contracts, something like that. So I'm happy to scale in, drop that short strike delta back down to about a 15, and then manage the trade as usual from there. So in conclusion, rolling is a great way to manage credit spreads, but it's not foolproof. Use it when it improves your probability and risk profile, not just to avoid admitting defeat. The key is knowing when to roll and when to walk away. Thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Reach out anytime with questions, and have a great day.